A very good afternoon, and once again welcome to Blackpool Pleasure Beach for another park update here from the 15th of November 2025. We had a week off last weekend because we were down at the Alton Towers fireworks, so the last update you would have seen would have been from 2 weeks ago, on the last day of Journey to Hell, to be fair, where checking out the rest of the park and quite literally Aviktas site before any of these parts arrived on site. Now they arrived earlier this week. I did do a YouTube short showing some of the parts that are in here, like some of the support structure that you can see in the very centre of your screen, and also some of the other structures that appeared around the rest of the park, like in the car park and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a very exciting time to see the start of Aviktas now appearing here on the site. So during the YouTube short that I did earlier in the week, I think it was either Tuesday or Wednesday, we did see all these main support structures here and that big centre white column there that you can also see, but they were under green protective sheets, which I do believe is that on the floor there. Whether it's been blown off because of the recent bad wind here in Blackpool, or it has generally just been taken off by the construction workers, I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, they were covered up and they were being protected from the bad elements here in the tunnel and the weather around from the weather conditions here in Blackpool. But also it's good to see that all the structures are now opened and you can visibly see them from the tunnel. So a few more structures on this side of the car park. We do have what I did show in the short, that central, just there, that central triangle piece there. I do believe that's the central motor for the attraction, where the central column arm will attach on the bottom to, and obviously then it would be powered by that on the ride. And then onto the far left side as well, we do have these platform structures here. I believe they're going to be for the very top of the ride as well, probably more like maintenance platforms, stuff like that will attach onto that triangle piece just there. As I say, I've not really been on an Intamin gyro swing of this scale before, but on the smaller scale ones, but nothing of this scale, so I don't really know which parts are for what. But what I do know though is them structures there on the far left, where is them ones there, will attach onto that structure that's still covered up there on the right hand side. One final look then here at the Aviktas site with all the ride parts here in the ride area. They are starting as also to put some of the straps, like the steel straps, on the bottom of the concrete as well, before they do put up these 4 concrete poles as well. Oh, there's a launch pad going up there in the background. But yeah, we do have all the ride parts here on site. We do have that central white one that is still in its protective covering, unlike the rest of them where the green ones you can see all on the floor, stuff like that. But yeah, it's good to see a lot of the ride parts are on site. We do have some stuff over there in the top left under white protective sheeting behind the central motor. Not entirely sure what they are over there. But yeah, we do have the crane still on site by Marsden. Just filmed that the other day when I was doing that short. But yeah, not a lot of change have happened since the short, apart from we can now see our first look at the colours of the Aviktas side. And as I say, they are starting to put the central straps down onto the concrete bases, ready for when they do erect the 4 columns. Whether it's going to be next week or just after the season finishes, don't really know, to be fair. I would imagine it may be going to be erected for the 29th of November. Like that's where they're doing the Aviktas sort of like meet-up tour thing, whatever it is Pleasure Beach is doing, like a fan club event. But yeah, at the minute Aviktas is still all in bits on the ground and ready to be erected up. So after that quick look over at Aviktas from the Watson Road tunnel, how we saw the support structures and some of the ride platforms all located in the area. Coming over here to the main car park now, because some of the rides have finished for the 2025 season. They're not closed, just won't be on maximum capacity, such as the big one here. We do have 4 of the carriages from train 3 sitting here. I'm not entirely sure where the 5th car is, but yeah, the train is sitting here, finished its 2025 season, and probably will be out of action for the whole of next year as well, because on big one they do like a train rotation every year, when they'll have 2 of the trains on. One will be stripped down for maintenance and then they'll swap it over every single year. So yeah, do we have 1 train on the big one currently today? You might have seen the last clip. Yeah, this is the other train that was on the service for this year, which is now done. And then we do have some of the chassis over to the background there. You can see there's some black chassis just through the fence line there for the 3rd train of big one. So yeah, I would imagine that one's going to be on the system for next year at some point. But yeah, this one here for Big One is done. Earlier in the week as well, we did have a train here for Big Dipper. The second train for Big Dipper was parked in here. I'd imagine that's now gone back of house and started its winter maintenance schedule. Again, the Big Dipper is still open, it's on one train, but obviously it's been on one train for the whole of the season anyway, really. Looking over there at these structures, I do believe they are more Aviktas ride parts. Again, not entirely sure what they are. They look like big circular things, unless they're going to be more sort of platforms to the ground or up in the sky, not entirely sure. But yeah, they're all covered up at the minute. A bit hard to see what they actually are over there as well. And when we pan round behind the big one as well, we do have some of the Revolution bogies and wheels around there as well. So yeah, like I just say, we do have the third train for Big One here. You can see on the back of each car, it'll say like 3, 4, 3, 3. That would indicate which part of the train it would be. Obviously you can tell which one the front is because you can see the big top Union Jack front on the top of that one. And yeah, we do have the Revolution chassis here. As I say, that's now done for the rest of this season. Bit of a shame the park didn't actually announce that the ride was closing on a certain weekend a few weeks. I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago it had its last ride, but no one knew. But maybe it didn't really notice, because look at the site of this wheel here. There's a massive chip inside of this wheel, so maybe they had to close it early because of this wheel, to be fair. So they thought, no point just changing the wheel for a few more weeks, might as well just close it early to do its winter maintenance programme. So yeah, you can see all 4 carriages Revolution are here. And you can tell it's Revolution as well because it does say no step, and somewhere in the wheel, there you go, it does say arrow in the wheel as well, that one being where the massive chip is as well. So yeah, we do have all 4 chassis there. And then a better look over there at what is, or what should be, the third train for Big One. All 5 chassis there as well. You can tell it's Big One because it's got like 3 rows for that ride. But that is literally the bare bones of the Big One train. Before any wheels, the shells, the seats, the harnesses, any of that go in, that is what your Big One train starts off at. And then pretty randomly and weirdly over here as well, next to Big One, we do have what looks to be 2 old monorail support structures. Not entirely sure why they're here. They can just easily be scrapped, because of course the monorail, you can just see up there the black track, it doesn't operate anymore. It closed back in 2012, 2013 I do believe. So over 10 years ago the monorail lasted its ride around the park. So yeah, a bit weird how there is some more supports here as well. Maybe there's some old supports when they redid the old Grand Prix area into the gardens, not entirely sure. But yeah, actually a quick look over here at the main car park. We can get Big One, Revolution, suspect Aviktas parts from this area here in the North car park. Of course, once the season does close, we won't be able to get this close and into the car park during the off season. We'll be having to stand off on the public roads like Balmoral, stuff like that. But yeah, whilst these final few weekends are still active, and there's about 3 weekends left to go of the season, we can come into the car park and have a quick look, because of course the park is open to public guests up until the 29th of November. So yeah, let's head inside the park and see what we can see from around the park. Well, we're now inside Blackpool Pleasure Beach, and you can see by the pathways it is extremely quiet today here from the 15th of November. I imagine this might be the similar script over the next final weekend, like 2 or 3 weekends to go in the park. Maybe the final day of the season might be a little bit busy with a lot of enthusiasts being up, but as of today, it is pretty quiet here in the park. So yeah, don't expect it to be mainly walk-ons a lot of the time. Maybe like moderate days at times here at Pleasure Beach, because of course as the season comes towards the end, and with this being like one of the only final few parks still open in the country, a lot of people do tend to trek up here and visit the park before the season's done for 2025. Now on the left here we do have Grand National. I think it is either testing or it's just broken down at this current stage, because the trains are going around empty. We're going around empty for the past 5 minutes or so, and on the board it does say ride opening late as well. So you can see here the purple train on this side and the blue train on the other side are going around empty at this current stage. I mean, we did ride it a few weekends ago on the 1st of November, the final day for Journey to Hell, and well, it was actually running really well that day, because it was over 11 AM riding through until 10 PM that day. So yeah, it was running really well, the National. Still rough, still uncomfortable like it always is, but yeah, running quite well over on the Grand National. So with it being the final few weekends of the season, there is and has been some rides that are now done and close to the rest of this year. Some of them we have already talked about in the last update a few weeks ago, being over in Nickelodeon Land, and also on this little video that I did on the way in of the ride closures and ride openings late. As you'll now see, we did have last Nickelodeon Street closed, but we do know that one's already done anyway. You have the big like Bikini Bottom bus tour, I think it's called, that's now closed, and also Dora's World Voyage another one that is closed for the rest of this year. And on there as well, we do have the newly added Revolution as well, because sadly that ride has now done its final laps for this year, as we showed over in the car park as well, with the ride chassis and wheels all pocked up over there. And then on the rides that are opening later as well, it did show Ghost Train, so that must be down in a minute, having a few technical issues. Grand National, which we've just showed, doing a few test cycles, whether because that's even broken down or opening late today. And also Valhalla as well was on there. But to be fair, I'm pretty surprised Valhalla's open on these cold November weekends anyway, to be fair, because I definitely would not be riding Valhalla in these cold conditions anyway. So yeah, they could just close that ride and save the money with Valhalla being open, to be fair. So yeah, there was a few rides closed. There's not an awful lot closed for the rest of this year, but yeah, there is the main ride, or main two rides I'd say, is Nickelodeon Streak, as it's getting ready for February half term next year. And of course Revolution closed for the remaining of this year as well. So yeah, if you are coming to the park, just be aware we do have quite a few rides that are now done for this year, and the ones that are open are on very reduced capacity, being one train, two at a push. I think Icon is the only one that will be running two trains at least now, because Infusion, our second train's gone. Big Dipper, that second train's gone, but it didn't really matter on that ride anyway. Of course, Big One, that second train's now in the car park. We have the likes of Avalanche, I'm pretty sure that's now on one train for the rest of the year. So yeah, just be wary if you are coming to the park. Yes, the pathways may look quiet, the rides may not be, because they are on reduced capacity. So yeah, just be wary if you are coming, and the hours are 11 AM through until 5 PM as well for these winter weekends now. So yeah, we will head around the rest of the park, see what else we can see, have a quick look at River Caves and Aviktas from inside the park. So of course, last time we were inside the park, it was Halloween. River Caves was getting ready to open for its last night of the Halloween Journey to Hell event. And of course, see if we can see anything of Aviktas from inside the park, but if not, we have showed quite a lot in the recent YouTube short, and the quick look before at all the support structures as well. So in terms of rides opening late today, Valhalla was on the board for opening late, and while it's only about operational for 2 hours today, as you can see on the board, it opens at 3, closes at 5, so it's only open for 2 hours today. Is there any point really getting it open? I mean, it's a very expensive ride and cost-effective ride to run as it is in the first place. So by the time you get the staff in there, done all the test runs for all the boats are going to be open on today, and then get it open for 2 hours in these cold weekends, is there actually any point really opening it? For me personally, I would have closed it at the start of November. That's when I would have done. Just said, yep, no more rides on Valhalla, it's too cold, too cost effective, and back open again potentially next April, if anything. Because yeah, opening for 2 hours for Valhalla is pretty pointless in my opinion. It may get a queue later on when it opens up at 3 o'clock, but at this current stage I can't really see anyone wanting to go on it and get entirely soaked when it is about 5 or 6 degrees at a push today. It's very cold in Blackpool, and it's going to be getting colder as we get closer to winter. So yeah, 2 hours on Valhalla today. Is there any point? So I'm now stored in the central area of the park where the water show is. A bit of a shame over there for food availability. Looks like the whole of FY4 is technically done for the rest of the year today, which is a bit of a shame, because there's not actually an awful lot of food places that are currently open. I think the only things we've seen is Big Pizza Kitchen over in Nickelodeon Land, Coasters just by the Big Dipper, and also Beach Burger, which is across from the Alice in Wonderland ride. We also have Burger King, that's shut. Loki's is shut, but that's been shut for the majority of this year. And also now FY4, as I say, is closed over there, which is a shame, because it is normally a place where I just grab a portion of chips really from that left-hand stall. But yeah, all closed up, which is a shame. And also stood here at the side of Grand National on this AstroSurf section, which is where all the Halloween decorations were and the big stage was. All gone now. Of course, it finished 2 weeks ago, so there's been plenty of time for them to remove all the decorations. We've still got what was the counter over there, over on the wall. Obviously it's turned off, probably waiting to be on countdown for next year. Impossible across the way over there is currently closed, but I imagine that's going to stay closed for the rest of the year. It's probably still got all the Halloween theming all inside there as well. So yeah, bit of a deserted area at the minute with no FY4 open, and of course all the theming from this area is currently been removed as well. Can't get my words out then. I say it's that cold, I'm struggling to get my words out today. So yeah, apologies if I'm stuttering a bit today, but yeah, it is cold, so yeah. So I'm going to end this Pleasure Beach update down here by the big one today. Bit of a different ending, rather than the flying machines for a change. Not been an awful lot to talk about as per usual neat updates. Of course, we saw more of the ride parts arrive on site for Aviktas. We saw that at the very start of the video over in the Watson Road Tunnel. How it looks like more of the support structures and the central column has now arrived for the attraction opening next year. And as I said at the start, I'm pretty sure it probably will be built up and erected before the fan club event on the 29th of November. I mean, it would make sense doing an Aviktas fan club event. Why not have the ride built up and ready for that? Of course, we had a brief look around the rest of the park, especially in the North car, but looking at some of the ride vehicles that are now appeared up there, such as the second train for Big One and the Revolution train, more like the wheels and the chassis, because of course that attraction is now done for the rest of the year. Of course, Nickelodeon Land, like Nick Streak, we know that's been shut for a while as well, so we should show the ride closure board as it came in the park, which showed Revolution, Nickelodeon Streak, Dora and Bikini Bottom Bus Tour were all closed. Had a quick look at Valhalla, explaining why it's pretty pointless opening that attraction for just 2 hours a day now in November. I mean, when it did open at 3 o'clock, it did have a very small queue, maybe about 10 minutes max, but not enough to suffice being open for 2 hours and paying all them staff for like 2 hours wage. It did seem pretty pointless. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this update here from Pleasure Beach today from the 15th of November 2025. Of course, there are going to be 2 more updates from inside the park over the next 2 weekends of the park, because we'll be on next weekend and then the final day, the weekend after, on the 29th of November. So if you enjoyed this update, hit the thumbs up, be sure to hit subscribe, and I'll see you all again with a Pleasure Beach update in the future.